It just started raining here in Sweden, and I think that's pretty fitting because today we are doing the Spa Francorchamps predictions, so let's get into it. As usual, we have the top 5s for every competitive session, so we have for the quali and for the race this time, and then we have Fire and Dire. Someone that is Fire is someone that is performing good, someone that is Dire is the opposite. So we have that for both drivers and teams. And then lastly we have 5 random predictions in varying amount of points. So we have 2 1-pointers, 2 2-pointers and 1 3-pointer. So I'm thinking let's get into it. Let's start with the top 5s. Okay, so starting from P5 in the quali top 5 we have Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. So the shock here maybe is that Oscar Piastri gets a P3, and I believe that's a pretty bold prediction, but I do believe that he has performed very great this season, and he has said numerous times that this is his favorite track to drive, so I do believe that he can perform great here. And I do believe that the Ferraris might not be the best here. They don't have the best top speed. This track is very much a top speed heavy track. You need to have some top speed to win here, basically. So I do believe that the Ferraris might not be the best here. And then Kimi Antonelli and George, I do believe that Kimi is the faster Mercedes driver all season, basically. The only reason that George has caught up to Kimi Antonelli is because Kimi has had some unfortunate luck the past 3 races or something like that. So I do believe that it's more interesting and exciting when it's closer, but I do want Kimi to win with the most amount of points that he can. I'm rooting for him in the championship. Okay, with that said, let's go to the race top 5. In P5 I have Lewis Hamilton, then Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc, George Russell and then Kimi Antonelli. So I do believe that Kimi Antonelli can get his sixth. I hope he can achieve 6 wins here, like in total, and I do believe that he can. He didn't do great last time maybe, but so I do believe that this is a pretty good track for George, it seems like, but I'm still rooting for Kimi here because I do feel like he's the overall better driver at the moment. And it feels like Charles Leclerc is going to have a snowball effect maybe where he's starting to get better and better results and not crashing every race. So I believe that this win in Silverstone is going to help him in Spa also. Okay, so let's go to Fire and Dire. For Fire driver, and I have put Oscar Piastri. If he can get a P3 in the quali and a P4 in the race, I think that's very fair to give Fire driver. I mean, McLaren is like competing for the third best team, and if they can beat both Ferraris in the quali and one of the Ferraris in the race, I feel like that's a great achievement for both McLaren and for Oscar Piastri. If Oscar can get a P5 in the race and a good quali, I feel like that's instant Fire driver, for me at least. Okay, and then for Dire driver, I have put Franco Colapinto. I feel like Franco has stepped up, at least from last year. He didn't get a singular point last year, and now he has 18 points. So he's instantly infinitely better than last year, but something tells me that he isn't going to perform too great here. I don't really have a reason, but he has had some great performances lately with like getting in points, obviously. But yeah, something tells me that Franco is not going to get any points here. I feel like if he gets point, then I don't get this point, and if he crashes or is like P11 or something like that, then I get that point. I feel like that's the threshold for a point here. Okay, and then we have Fire team. I have put Racing Bulls. So they have been looking very good this season, much better than last season. They're almost ahead of Alpine, which is pretty unexpected, I would say. That is very great from Racing Bulls. Like, they're doing great at the moment. They're always in the points. As of lately, they are always ahead of Alpine. Arvid wanted Liam to speed up when Arvid was behind Liam. And I feel like Arvid Lindblad has already shown his potential or his greatness so far. He's a little bit like a Max Verstappen type of character maybe, where he wants to get the best result that he can, no matter what. And of course that can be both great and negative. It's great that he wants to push himself to get better, what all drivers must do to survive. It is called Drive to Survive for a reason. So I think that is great, but it can start some arguments between teammates, like unnecessary arguments, like we saw in Austria. Arvid was not happy that Liam didn't pick up the pace, but they obviously didn't have to, because the next person in front of them was like, I believe, like 15 seconds in front, so there's not really a reason to speed up there. I would say it's better to just save tires and get those points instead of like risking a worse tire strategy. But yeah, anyway, let's go to Dyer team. I have put Audi. So they got a pretty good result last time in Silverstone. They got a P8 with Gabriel Bortoletto, and I'm just going on the notion that someone gets a good result, gets a better result next time. It is pretty easy to put Audi as Dyer, yeah, because it is basically the top 4, 3 in the middle for the best of the rest competition, but it's basically just Alpine and Racing Bulls, and then we have the bottom 5. That is basically how the 2026 season is going to go. I think it is just such a big difference between teams, and we kind of see that in quali sometimes, that it's just Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull. Like, it's very divided in teams. With this new regulation set, it's kind of hard to make it like 2025, where there could be a Haas in P3 or something like that, or a Haas in P4 like in Mexico 25. It is kind of hard to do that with such a new regulation set, I believe, because there's so many moving parts. The best teams are going to be the best by far, and the worst teams are going to be the worst by far. Okay, and then we have some random predictions. Let's start with the 1-pointers. So the first 1-pointer, I have said rain in any session. I have looked at the weather report. It said on Saturday it's going to rain quite a lot. So I do believe that there's going to be rain in some session, maybe FP3 or quali, most likely at least. This is kind of a bold prediction because I'm recording this on the 10th, on Friday, the week before, predicting this like 9 days in the future. I wanted to put it as a 1-pointer because I do believe that there's going to be rain. I mean, it's Belgium, it's always rain there almost. And then the second 1-pointer, I have put Lando not in the points. So either that he crashes or he just is like very slow because of some technical issues. So let's go to the 2-pointers. And the first 2-pointer prediction I have is Racing Bulls gets over Alpine in the constructors. And I do believe it's going to happen. It is just 1 point away in the constructors, so I don't feel like it's a crazy prediction. Racing Bulls has to get 2 more points than Alpine and they're ahead. So I do believe it's going to happen here. For the second 2-pointer prediction, I have put longest quali session in this season, and the longest one so far is Australia. The first one, it was a 1:37.55. My time here for Australia I have taken from like the broadcast, so how long the broadcast was for that quali session in Australia. But the quali times are usually like 1 hour 15, 1 hour 12, somewhere there. It is usually around that time. Okay, and then for the last prediction of the video, we have a 3-pointer. Now that Belgium is out of the World Cup, I feel like it might attract some football players into F1 maybe. So I have put Kevin De Bruyne waves the checkered flag. I feel like that would be a crazy pull if I got that, but I feel like it still could happen, right? Could also put Lukaku here, maybe. I considered both of them, but I put Kevin. Like, thinking about it, it might actually happen, but only time will tell. So yeah, those were my predictions for the Spa Francorchamps Grand Prix. I'm very excited to see this Grand Prix. I think I might see it with some friends. That is going to be awesome. I think this was this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, then comment, like, subscribe, share and all that. And I will see you in the next video.